Rome's origin is not so easy to understand due to incomplete and varying historical accounts. After the mythological Trojan War and the fall of Troy in the 12th or 11th century BC, the Greeks maintained hostilities towards the Trojans. Two Trojan men, Antenor and Prince Aeneas, were allowed to work for peace, but both failed. Aeneas and his men were eventually forced into exile. They ultimately landed in Latinum, an area southwest of Rome, where King Latinus provided refuge. To confirm his acceptance of Aeneas and his men, King Latinus offered his daughter Lavinia in marriage to Aeneas. Unfortunately, Lavinia was already promised to Prince Turnus from a neighboring territory. An armed conflict ensued between Turnus and Aeneas. Aeneas won the war, although Latinus was killed. The Trojans won the right to stay and assimilate with the local people. Aeneas' son, Ascanius, founded Alba Longa and the line of Alban Kings, filling the chronological gap between the Trojan saga and the founding of Rome in the 8th century BC. One of the last kings was Proscus, who fathered Numitor and then Amulius. At Proscus's death, the protocol was broken, and Amulius usurped the throne after driving Numitor away. He killed his brother's sons and made his niece, Rhea Silvia, a Vestal virgin. She was raped, she professed, by Mars, and gave birth to twins, Romulus and Remus. The king imprisoned her and condemned the twins to death by drowning in the Tiber River. The twins were placed in a basket at the edge of a flooded Tiber. Fortuitously, the water's edge receded and stranded the two. A thirsty she-wolf found them and nursed them until they were found by Fautulus, the king's herdsman. He took them home to his wife Laurentia. It should be noted that some folks claim that Laurentia was a common whore and was called Wolf by the local shepherds. The twins were engaged with other shepherds in farm life and hunting. Others joined and they began to attack robbers and share their spoils. They engaged in an annual festival of frivolity at the Palatine Hill. Some incensed brigands laid a trap for the twins. Romulus defended himself and escaped, but Remus was captured and turned over to Numitor, whose land they often raided. Faustulus suspected from the beginning that the twins were of royal blood. Their rescue from the Tiber corresponded to the king's orders to drown them. Faustulus told Romulus, then Numitor, and finally Remus of these circumstances. Romulus knew they had to act. With the help of the herdsmen, the twins surprised and killed King Amulius. Numitor gathered the townspeople and told them about the nefarious tale of Amulius. The twins verified the story, and their grandfather Numitor was declared king of Alba. Alba was packed with Latins, Albans, and herdsmen. The twins decided to start a new settlement on the spot they were ditched to drown. But there was a huge problem. Who was to govern? They decided to ask the tutelary gods of the countryside to declare by augury the name of the town and governorship. Romulus took the Palatine Hill and Remus the Aventine to observe the auspices. Remus was the first to receive a sign, 6 vultures. Then Romulus received 12 vultures. Verbal arguments began, priority versus numbers. Blows followed, and Remus was killed. The city was called after the founder's name. After laying out the city's boundaries, fortifying the Palatine, and building the city, Romulus sought Numitor's assistance to become Rome's king. He chose 100 men from prominent families and established the Roman Senate. Their descendants were known as patricians, one of 2 social classes. The other class was known as plebes, or plebeians, and consisted of servants, war prisoners, and fugitives who eventually received citizenship. Romulus was best loved by the army, then the commoners, and a few of the senators. After reviewing his troops during a storm, his throne was found empty. The few senators last seen standing at his side surreptitiously claimed that he was carried high by a whirlwind after 37 years on the throne. Rome was founded under the influence of the dark emotions of familial envy, anger, and fratricide. Romulus killed Remus. However, these dark emotions were their heritage. Their grandfather Numitor was the rightful king, and the younger brother, Amulius, usurped him, familial envy. In an act of revenge, the twins eventually murdered Amulius. These dark emotions inside their internecine politics and bloodshed plagued the Seven Kingdoms until the last king, Tarquin the Proud, was overthrown and the Republic formed.